Hello! We're back and we just watched The Social Network. And whose movie is this?
Right.
As if we haven't done this before.
That was a movie from my list. It's on my
Written
top
by-
25, written by Aaron Sorkin and directed by
David Fincher!
Yeah, we know this now.
Yep.
There was a totally other take before this. Spoilers.
Everybody forgot, because we're professionals.
We sure are.
Hey.
But yeah,
Finger's playing.
so we watched Scream, then What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and now The Social Network. We are really pulling up the
We're
variety
going
on
all
our
over
movies.
the place. Well, that's the benefit of having a top 25 from 3 different, very
That's
different
true.
creative
By the
minds.
way, this is Brooke.
Yes.
Hi.
Welcome, Brooke.
So excited to be here. It's my first movie discussion, so...
Ever.
Yeah, ever.
She's never discussed
She's
a
never
movie
talked
before.
about a movie in
never.
her life.
Like,
We wanted to capture the moment.
exactly.
We found her.
It's a big,
She was
big moment.
hiding in the Amazons.
What?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen this movie before? You said you did?
So I did see it one time before, but this feels like the first time I ever actually watched it because there was
Digested
a
it.
lot that I never caught the first time.
Mhm.
It's like a super
Absolutely.
dialogue heavy movie. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, I mean,
So-
it comes from
Yeah.
our writers. Top
Yeah, I mean,
25.
that's definitely what drew me to it. And I've followed a lot about the writing. Here's a little fun fact.
Yes. We need
Since
like a little.
it's my turn, I get to fun fact.
Yep.
So
Good
the
fun fact.
script was very long. It was like
Yeah.
270 pages or something like that. And when they delivered it to Sony, who produced the movie, they said, it's too long, you have to make cuts. And Aaron Sorkin said, no, it'll fit within 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we don't believe you. So he sat down, it was like him and Fincher sat down, and they read the script at the pace that Sorkin heard it in his mind. And it came out, like that taping of them reading through the script at the pace that he wanted was the exact time that the movie ended up, the exact runtime of the movie.
Which was 2 hours and 1 minute.
Which 2 hours and 1 minute, and that their reading took 2 hours and 1 minute to prove to Sony that they didn't have to cut anything from the script. So nothing was cut.
Wow.
Every scene that was in the script was in the movie.
Mhm.
I was going to say, one of my comments is there must have been an audition with Jesse Eisenberg of like a words per minute
Yeah,
vocal audition, because this man rails
yeah.
through his dialogue to the point where I would love to see him in a film noir like transatlantic style, because he could definitely pull it off.
They said when they shot it that Fincher would often be like, that was a great take. Everyone did their job right, but when Sorkin and I did it, the scene was this amount of long, and you guys are too long, so we got to do it again. You got to do it faster, and they would just have
God.
to read it
Is
faster
he
and faster.
That
over
makes
and
so
over
much
again.
sense.
Yeah.
actually.
Is he notorious for multiple takes? Because that's what I've gotten from
Yeah.
hearing the podcast that I listened to with Andrew Garfield speaking about this movie, is how many times he...
Yeah,
to
I don't
do
know
it.
if that's like a Fincher thing necessarily, or if it was just because I really only know this movie in terms of, and that was like a thing for this movie, is that it had a certain pacing and that it had to be set at a certain tempo, which is something that I like. That's comforting for me as a writer to hear that at a certain level they will let you dictate the pace of the movie that you wrote.
Mhm.
Because kind of what they say about writing is that in the film business, writers don't have like a ton of control. You kind of just pass off the director and have to hope it comes out your way. So it's good to know when you're as famous as Aaron
I got
Sorkin,
you.
Yeah.
you get to decide on the pace of the script.
Have they worked together before, do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
'Cause they
Nor do I think they have worked together since.
Wow,
although I'm hoping they
produced
will.
something really brilliant this
Yeah.
time
Mhm.
around.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I noticed is the tempo of the movie. Like, I had to really pay attention and like make sure I was like following along with whatever was happening, and the scenes were just like that. So it kind of makes sense why they like wanted it to be so fast, to, like fit that time period, like you said.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
It was
Interesting.
It was good. It's very witty dialogue. That
It's
opening
funny.
scene, it really
Yeah.
does establish the
Yeah.
pace of the movie. It'd be a really great movie to watch with subtitles.
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed.
I thought about that after
Yeah.
we put it on, and I thought, should I put subtitles on this? And I was like, if somebody asks,
Yeah, I think
I'll do
if
it.
you're watching it for
I
the first
did
time
mention
around,
Mhm.
subtitles would
Yeah.
be very
I
good.
didn't hear it.
If you want to really ingest everything that's going on in the movie, I would suggest putting on the
You
subtitles
gotta like
for
read
this.
fast.
I will definitely, when we do Brick, I will do subtitles because that movie comes just as fast, and they use like an old-timey noir sort of way of speaking.
Yeah, the transatlantic.
So yeah, that one's like
voice.
super hard
Yeah,
on a first watch.
I really do want to
So-
see Jesse in one of those roles, man.
Yeah, I would like that too.
He totally nailed Zuckerberg in this movie. I was thinking all of the rumors that were going on during his past trial, this recent one, of him being, lizard people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He really captures the lizard people look that Zuckerberg has. The casting in general for this movie, during it, I was kind of looking up all of the real life people that these characters were based on. And they did, the casting director, I don't know who it was, but they nailed it, for sure.
You don't even know Mark's real name. He's the fucking Lizard King.
Looks at the camera.
There is
some... I understood that.
I would
Yeah, that's from Robert California?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he did another, he did a Robert California-esque monologue in this.
Oh my god, Secretary has to go on my top 25. I'm bumping something off.
Okay. He said, life is sex and everything is sex.
Secretary.
Speaking of casting, though, I will say one of the criticisms of this movie is it does have a problem with whitewashing, in that Eduardo Saverin is played by Andrew Garfield very well, I would say. But there's a lot of, if you read the true stuff about these people, one of the things that was a big rumor after Facebook got started, that the reason Saverin has a bunch of money and the reason that Zuckerberg went to him for money is because his family had Brazilian mob connections. But they kind of had to leave that out of the movie because it would be hard to believe that Andrew Garfield came from the Brazilian mob. And then also the actor who plays Divya Narendra is not Indian. They put darker makeup on him.
A little cringy.
So there's some not great things they did casting wise. Even though I would say all of the actors are very good. They did not look outside of white actors for what should have been a fairly diverse cast.
Right.
Aside from Brenda Song.
Well, on that subject, let's talk about the twins.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So I am an identical twin, and I've been saying for a long time that it is a problem that they will not cast twin actors. When you have two characters playing twins, they will hire. So in this, they got Armie Hammer to play both the Winklevoss twins.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. They should just hire real twins to play real twin actors, which is less of an issue than whitewashing in terms of, I think it's not the same as casting a white person to play an Indian or a Brazilian person. Mm-hmm. But in the same way,
it's taking the opportunity away from someone who's been given that from birth.
Zach and Cody are looking for work. My brother and I would have loved to have played the Winklevi.
But Armie Hammer, again, with the casting, he looks the part.
He does.
And I have to say, Armie Hammer and Armie Hammer have great chemistry together.
They
really
do.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah. And what they did was very difficult to pull off cinematically speaking, especially with the moving camera shots. And clearly they were probably using a rig.
It was really impressive.
When was this movie made? Do you remember the year?
Let's see. It had to have been 2011.
Okay, because the CGI is impressive when it comes to the twins.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Well, they had really nailed it with the Parent Trap, so I assume they just got whoever did that one.
Doing a twin effect, it's not that difficult. I mean, we've done it a few times.
Yeah.
And then when we didn't even need to do it, we did it just to say that we could do it.
Yeah.
I like the way they do it on Friends
Still.
with Phoebe and Ursula and the doorways.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They had. I don't really watch South Park, but there is one South Park joke that just friggin' killed me. It's when Carmen had an evil twin.
Carmen?
And
Cartman,
right, whatever. Cartman. Did I not just say I don't watch South Park? But apparently I'm that out of it. I'm going to get some hate in the comments for that. But whenever he met his evil twin, they had this very clear divided line between them.
That's really funny. Yeah, South Park is...
it was hilarious. But, yeah,
so... my notes.
So overall, you were insulted they didn't use
I think
he's just
Hollywood
insulted that he wasn't in this
needs
movie.
To start. Yeah, I mean, or call up Zach and Cody, get them off Riverdale, put them in.
Dylan?
But are
Dylan
you?
and Cole Sprouse? They could have gotten in shape.
But Alex, are you in shape enough to do this?
But if you're gonna pay me whatever you paid Armie Hammer, I would have gotten in shape.
Yeah, the Winkle vibe.
Yeah.
That line.
He probably came in the audition in shape.
That was hilarious.
The Winkle vibe.
Yeah.
I wonder, because it would be hard, let's say I'm the real Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, and then in that movie, somebody calls me the Winklevi, and then it'd be first off, I hate this guy who said it, but also that's good. I wonder if they use Winklevi now, because I would be tempted to.
Yeah. Like I said, witty.
A lot of people probably use it to them.
Witty dialogue. Witty writing. It was great. It was It's a great script. I know I wrote down multiple lines that happened in this movie. Like, the one that we paused and even talked about is inventing a job is better than finding a job.
True. I'm all about that.
You are. That is like
I say that
motto.
constantly.
Awesome. Yeah.
Mostly in relation to, which this is not going to make sense to any of the viewers, but my friend Matt, who Emma has been one of his shows, he's starting a theater company. And,
I know Matt.
Yeah, and after he announced that, I immediately thought of that Facebook line.
Yeah.
Because he, like, bounces between jobs sometimes. And I was like, and when he said, I'm going to do this theater company because that's how I'm going to make it, I was like, everybody wants to make a job instead of finding a job.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good advice in a way.
Absolutely.
You should
Absolutely
have the power to invent your own future.
I don't know if the movie
That's kind of
considers
what
it.
we're trying to do here right now.
Yeah.
Self-starting.
That's what I've been doing for like years and years.
So you need a t-shirt with that on it.
That I've been doing this for years and years.
Happy birthday. No, just
But the movie is kind of against that idea. Like, I would not say that they're saying to find a job instead of making a job. That seems to be the like unless you're like, because they're telling the Winklevi,
oh yeah,
quit bugging us, get a job.
Yeah.
So.
But look what Zuckerberg did.
Yeah, I guess it kind of splits a line.
It does.
But I would say mostly it's used in a negative sense, and then in some ways I kind of almost feel bad sometimes. Not really, but like you're like, oh, maybe I should just be getting a job.
I thought the president was kind of a dick.
Well, you know,
he was. He was busy. It was a great scene, though.
It's not like he knew that Facebook was going to be
No, he didn't.
I feel like if he knew, like,
he wouldn't have been saying those
He would have maybe given them a little bit more time.
Yeah, it was a good scene.
I love that scene because it opens when they come into the office and he's talking on the phone to somebody else. He says, I have a meeting. And he goes, presumably the person on the phone says, what's it about? And he says, I don't know, but from the looks of it, they're trying to sell me a Brooks Brothers franchise. I think that's such a funny line.
I really liked when he like slammed the door and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I broke your 334-year-old doorknob."
Yeah.
They are kind of that typical cis male white, like
they got the frat
masculine energy, and
there's
that
a lot of subtle badass moments.
Yeah,
non-traditional badass moments.
There is a lot of masculine, almost misogynistic energy in this movie, though.
That's question.
Yeah, it's something I didn't enjoy so much, but I think it definitely gave to the film, and I know why that tone was there. These were really misogynistic people.
Yeah.
I mean, the initial website that they created, Face Mash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of disappointed with the lack of female characters, the stronger female characters in this movie, up until Rashida Jones's character at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
She was very strong.
Yeah,
and
all
so
of
was
the
Rooney.
women were pretty much...
Rooney Mara's,
character.
who is barely in it, but she, I believe that was one of her first movies. Because I remember when she started getting work, people would say Rooney Mara from The Social Network. That was the first thing I saw her in, I know. And, that first scene, people liked so much and she did such a good job with. I think she really started to get work after what mostly is a bit role in this movie, but so memorable.
Yeah, there was a lot of, like, condescending lines towards women, obviously. Like, at first I really just hated Zuckerberg, so much off the bat because of, like, how he would just, I don't know, see women as, like, a complete and total object. But,
I feel like he saw almost everyone as a complete
total
object.
Everyone was, like, inferior to
So, yeah, why the hell, Eduardo, why are you friends with this man in the first place? I want to know. I want to know.
He's a good guy. Like,
there's a lot of red flags going on there.
I mean, I think so. I've read some
the
stuff
benefit of that relationship
about the kind of truth behind it, and that he wasn't really that close with Mark.
Okay.
That Mark knew of him as like a business guy, and then he was like a friend of a friend. So like that scene in the opening when Eduardo comes in and he sees them making Face Mash and like gives them that algorithm and stuff. It's like a lot of that is kind of made up, and that their friendship as a whole, they weren't really like best friends until Facebook started happening, and then they were working so close together that they kind of became close because they were making a ton of money and getting famous on campus together. But that really before, Zuckerberg sought him out being like, this is the guy I want as my money guy. just through, like, he had heard of him and been, but it wasn't like, I'm going to go to my best friend for money. It was like, I'm going to go to this guy because I prefer him to the Winklevi.
Yeah,
I mean, my finance
I don't know enough about how this started up to know what's embellished and what's not completely, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I accept that the movie is definitely a fabrication of real life events. But
and, like, our job right now is to discuss it as a movie rather than...
Of course,
like,
dissect the factual details of it.
Evidence.
I mean... that came off way worse than it was meant to. But as film reviewers, we are.
Of course.
There was another thing I wanted to talk about with the, we were talking about the either find a job or make a job. Mm-hmm. There was another quote that went hand in hand with that, in my opinion. It was said very early on in the movie, the difference between being obsessed and being motivated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was because we all kind of looked at Tristan.
Yeah, we did.
When they said that line. Yeah.
Well, there's a point, I think, that Zuckerberg goes down where you are so motivated to a point of obsession.
Right.
And should you draw back if you are obsessed with something? Does it drive you forward more? Are you more...
I'm not the right person to ask.
I know, I'm not even asking. I'm just saying that I don't think if you fall into a passion or something that is driving your life forward, if obsession really is, it has such a negative connotation to it, there should be another word for it. It's just dedication, almost.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does define you.
I'll take that.
It is a very inspiring film, above all, I think.
I feel like obsession can, like, drive motivation as well, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, good thing.
Certainly obsessed with films, and that's driving us forward with this.
This is true.
So, yeah. But I think that my big takeaway from this movie is its inspiration to go forward with any endeavors that I have for my own personal gain, because...
It can get messy, though.
It can get messy.
I was going to say, would you say then, though, that the message is, like, in order to achieve that, to that extent, you have to be as, like, kind of cold and unfeeling as the Zuckerberg character?
I mean, I don't think this movie has a very positive final ending, because it...
No, we kind of just go right into the epilogue.
Yeah. I was
a bit
know.
Surprised when the movie ended.
It's a cold movie. Yeah. It's motivating, it's cold, it's witty, it's sexual, it's sad, I don't know, it's
pretty cut and dry as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do, the ending is really interesting for me because it doesn't feel like a common ending. I don't think there's everything's wrapped up. Mm-hmm. But like we have discovered, there are definite character arcs which make it a satisfying film.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And especially the final scene, you kind of have Zuckerberg's final arc with what is Rashida's? Do we know her name?
I don't know. I'm not even sure they ever really say it.
Lawyer woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They may say it once.
Yeah.
But it's not one that I remember. I don't even really remember the Rooney Mara character's name. Because they may say it like once or twice. Oh no, Rebecca or Jessica. He writes it in the blog.
Yeah.
Her last name is Albright because he makes that crack about
Erica?
it. Erica? Yeah,
is it?
It's Erica.
Yeah.
It is Erica. That's the Rooney Mara character's name.
Yeah, he was an asshole to her.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting with that movie, speaking to that, because I think a lot of people come out of it because he's so witty and quick that, like, almost idolizing, like, that kind of thing where you're like, I both idolize him for being, like, a genius and also the funniest guy in every room he's in, but then also sometimes the way he's being funny are like he is just a complete asshole.
Egomaniac.
Yeah, and it's like, so... And I have to assume probably the real Mark Zuckerberg is not as funny as the Jesse Eisenberg one.
No, but
still
his ego is just as
mean,
inflated.
And that's got to be way worse.
Yeah.
So, like, is it responsible for Fincher and Sorkin to make him, when he's mean, so funny that you're like, well, you know, he kind of gets away with it because it's so funny? Because I remember the first time I watched it, and I thought, you know, Rashida Jones' character has that whole thing about you'll never win a jury. And I thought, if I were on any jury... And the defendant was as charming as Jesse Eisenberg in this movie, I would side with him.
I think I have to give that to Jesse Eisenberg, though.
Yeah. But I wondered, you know, because of that, like, does that almost make the movie worse? Because it almost glorifies that kind of, like, if
That's
you can be...
That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. It glorifies it.
Yeah. If you can be as, like, quick and, you know, sharp and funny as this guy, then you can do whatever you want. You can screw all your friends.
I think it makes it a better film.
Yeah.
Well,
That's actually... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's kind of like a little unrelated, but that reminds me a lot of like Ted Bundy and stuff. How charming he was, and yet the jury didn't believe him or like didn't really go through with that.
Yeah.
That's just like another example, like charm and wit and everything, and how he was able to just kind of squirm his way out of things, kind of like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Like Mark Zuckerberg,
Mark's not a serial killer.
the character, just taking aside like the real life Mark Zuckerberg, the character is clearly, he's not great.
Yeah.
He's not a likable person, but he's very fun to watch.
Yes, absolutely.
He's so much fun to watch. And we have characters like this, taking a page out of one of my favorite shows of all time, How I Met Your Mother. Barney Stinson, he's so funny, but he is a terrible human being.
Yeah.
He really analyzes all the shit that Barney Stinson does. Horrible person.
Yeah, but he's charming.
Yeah.
Well,
like
of course he's charming.
asshole.
But was Mark Zuckerberg in this movie charming? No, I don't think so.
he was lovable.
No, he was
Barney
nerd
is
charming.
lovable.
He was nerd
To other
charming.
nerds, not to women, to other nerds though.
This movie is very pro geek, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I like it.
There's just nerds having a
I'm
good
a fan
time.
of the nerds. Fan of the geeks. What's the difference between a nerd and a geek, would you say?
I believe a nerd is more like tech and mathematical, and geek is more pop culture.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
makes sense.
So they were nerds.
But nerd is way more fun to say.
Nerds. I love nerds. It's a good candy.
Liz always calls me a nerd
Had to say
when I know it's
It's good.
when I know we're doing good.
Aw.
I mean, she calls the
That's
cats
sweet.
nerds too. So nerd
Right.
is a term of endearment.
Ooh, another quote that struck out to me was from Justin Timberlake's character, which we also need to get on to a discussion about JT
Sean Parker
as an actor. But private behavior is a relic of a time gone by, and even for them to have said that however many years ago, over 10 years ago, when this movie was made.
2011 when it was made, and then
it's
now
not over 10,
Facebook.
so just over 10.
I was thinking about that. I was like, man, they had a line about privacy that I noticed this time specifically.
Relic.
And I wish I'd written it down.
Yeah, that was
and
it.
I'm glad you did, because...
private behavior is a relic of a time gone by.
Yeah, which is
It
obviously...
is. And I was thinking about what we're going to be doing after we watch the movie, is sitting, filming, discussing it for other people on the internet to watch, and it's so interesting that really is our culture now. It's
Well, and not only that, but, Mark Zuckerberg himself, the real life one, is in trouble for Facebook stealing private information from people. And so it's weird that, he says that and you go, okay, now it makes me think Sean Parker really might have said something like that.
Yeah.
And that might have been the catalyst for Mark Zuckerberg being like,
deciding to say,
that's
well,
a good
that's
idea
okay.
on how I'm going to make some money.
Do you know they are going to be making a sequel to this movie?
I was going to bring that up, is that I'm hoping there's going to be a sequel.
They announced it in January of this year. I believe.
Because
that's
weird.
It needs it.
That has to be weird that a biopic is getting a sequel.
Because there's so many weird now
so
connections.
much has happened since
and
then.
that now, because of that line, and then there was even something else I was thinking about. Oh, the idea of him, the whole opening scene is him stealing information from private servers and then using that to make money. I mean, that's how it started. The first thing he did before Facebook to get famous was to steal photos, private information from Harvard.
So let's get on this discussion. Is that wrong? How do you feel about that?
I mean, yes, in a strict sense.
It's wrong?
Yeah, he definitely should not have taken those pictures off the Harvard.
I think it's interesting for the what are their names again? The twins.
The Winklevoss,
I
Tyler
don't
and
think
Cameron.
he was wrong to steal their idea. And
No,
make
not
it
that
because,
one.
Okay,
That one, no.
That's what I was thinking.
No,
about.
no, that was fine.
Stealing private information from people.
I'm talking about.
I was on the same
I
page
mean,
as that.
we have the Parks and Recreation Corporation that does that. Yes, I agree that is wrong. What's the name of them?
The Sweetums?
No, not Sweetums.
Oh, it's in the last season that I haven't watched.
Oh, Grizzle.
Grizzle.
Yep, Grizzle.
Facebook is Grizzle.
Yeah.
But no, I think I was thinking specifically about Zuckerberg stealing.
Oh,
their
no, I don't
idea.
think he stole their idea at all.
I think that he took it, but he did it better than they ever could have.
Of course he did it better.
Yeah. And I don't think that's wrong at all.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He moved faster.
Exactly.
He knew the skills. He moved faster. That's his right to do so.
And pulling
that is the world that we live in.
It is.
Yeah,
it is the world that we live in, and I know that you probably feel strongly about taking elements from different people's ideas or films and making it your own and using it.
Good filmmakers borrow, great filmmakers steal.
Exactly.
I don't remember where I heard that, but it's true.
I was thinking that I just wrote a script recently for a short film I sent to them, And there's a lot that is, I would say, borrowed or stolen from the novel Brave New World. Mm-hmm. And I was writing with my sister. We worked on it together. And I said to her while writing it, I said, we have to find a way to fit a Brave New World reference in there so that people will know that this was on purpose and that we didn't accidentally or unwittingly steal from Brave New World. So we squeezed one in, and now it's a reference. It's not just directly stealing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So
that makes up for it.
Yep.
At least they got their money, though.
Yeah.
65 million.
65 mil. They did okay. And they were rich to begin with, so...
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. They're doing just fine.
They're doing great.
Yeah.
I wonder how Eduardo's doing.
I think
he's renounced U.S. citizenship and lives in Brazil now.
Really?
He is,
in the mafia.
Was involved pretty heavily in, a lot of, investment strategies, made a bunch of money on his own on investments in, foreign markets, and then... I guess might have been in some trouble or could have gotten in some trouble in terms of the way he was keeping his money.
Shocker.
And he decided better not
stay
in the
America.
US. And so he renounced citizenship and I believe lives in Brazil and splits his time between Brazil and a Southeastern Asian country.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
So yeah, he's doing great.
I was really moved by Andrew Garfield's performance in this movie.
Yeah.
He absolutely nails the final
Andrew
scene.
Garfield is he's
very talented.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way he speaks about his craft.
Mm-hmm.
It's super inspiring as an actor. If anybody watching is a performer yourself, read or listen to any of Andrew Garfield's material because he is very insightful and humble and intelligent, and I very much so respect him as an actor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's that. I think he gives a stellar performance. I think they all do, including Justin Timberlake.
Yep.
People are very conflicted about this man having an acting career, but I enjoy him.
Segue, love it.
I enjoy him on film.
Right. I didn't notice that.
You did it.
Did it.
I am
We
shocked.
went right
Congrats to
into
Justin
it.
Timberlake.
Yes.
I am shocked that after this movie, he didn't. Maybe he did get the offers or something, but I thought. Well, I remember I saw this in theaters opening weekend. I was very excited for this movie. It's one of the few movies that I've been excited for and then went and saw it and not been disappointed by. And I thought this is it. Justin Timberlake's an actor now. He's gonna start getting flooded with offers. He's gonna get nominated for Academy Awards. We see the switch right now.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really happen.
No.
And
when did he do Friends with Benefits?
it was right around then
It was?
too. It was maybe a year before, maybe a year
I completely
after.
forgot about that.
I enjoyed that movie.
That was a good movie, yeah.
Was also in Inside Llewyn Davis, which is on my top 25. So we'll watch. I have 2 Justin Timberlake acting films.
He
in
did
my
do
top
it.
25.
He did do a really
I
bad
honestly
movie.
can't think of any other movies he's been in besides
There's a bad
Friends with
one.
Benefits.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What is the name of it? God.
Oh no, it's called In
Do you-
Time.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
In Time is a
that's what it
terrible
was.
movie that
Is
he
that
is
the one?
the lead of, where you have a clock.
Oh!
Yeah,
and
where
it's
it tells
the
you how long
amount
you
of time have to
die,
live.
and people. Yeah, and you pay people in time to live longer,
I enjoyed
and
that
it
movie.
is just chock full of time puns.
It's Amanda
The amount of
Seyfried.
times.
I don't
Well,
know.
the concept sounds great.
The
Have you
amount of
seen it?
times
No, I haven't.
where they very seriously use a pun about time is obnoxious.
Make it like a
It's
drinking game.
horrifying.
I think it was
Every time
kind of
there's
like
a
a
time
B-movie enjoyment for me. I
Oh.
actually enjoyed watching it.
B-movie?
No, I mean...
B-movie's a treasure.
In the way that you can enjoy a B-movie,
Uh-huh.
like a bad... I did enjoy this movie, if it is considered a bad movie.
It is a terrible movie.
Now,
my
you
opinion
think
is
most
shit.
movies are terrible
No,
movies.
this is on a different
No, I
level.
think he's right. It really was not a great movie.
I'm
It's
sure
been a
he
minute
is.
since I've seen it, but at the time when I saw it as a kid, I liked it. But I don't know how I'd feel if I saw it today.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Cool.
True. But I mean,
There's a lot of good people in
Anytime
it.
I can give Alex shit for hating movies, I will.
I believe that this movie ruined Vincent Kartheiser's
It was
career.
The Love Guru I was thinking about.
Oh, yes.
That was
Michael
a bad
Myers,
movie.
career
Never
killer
heard
for a
that.
while.
Never heard of that.
That
So,
was so bad.
The point is,
That was before the social
JT
network.
has made some rough decisions. As many good decisions as he made inside
You
the
just
Davis
called him
Social
JT.
Network.
JT,
Yeah.
I think you did good.
Stick with it, Justin.
I think you could do
if
more.
you're out there watching our channel,
I think you
stick
could
with
do
acting. I'll go see your next film, even though...
The way you said that
In
made it
time.
sound like he was trying something other than acting. Something you were telling him, don't do this music career. Stick to acting.
I'll say, I got 2 of your movies on my top 25 list. I have 0 of your songs on my top 25 song list. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather you be acting. I don't have a song list. But if I did, Justin Timberlake would not make the list.
I think Love Stoned would be on my list.
Sure.
That's a good song.
Can we, I talked about this early on in the movie, can we petition to have Facebook renamed to Zuck on it?
Zuck on it?
Because I think that should come back.
Right.
I think that Zuck on it is a much better name for Facebook,
Awesome.
especially nowadays.
Did Zuckerberg really have a blog called Zuck on it? Can we find it?
I'm sure that he had a blog, because I think most of that was taken from the real blog. But I don't know if the real blog's name was Zuck on it.
Speaking of taking from that, I mean, I don't want to go off because I do want to talk about Zuck on it. But the court depositions, you said that...
I believe a lot, if not all of that, is taken from real stuff. Although, it's possible... After I said that, I thought, it's Sorkin.
Uh-huh.
So, like, him using someone else's real-life material doesn't seem like a Sorkin move.
Okay.
So it's possible that he, like, jazzed it up a bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like why else have stuff shot in a deposition if not because
if
it's
you're
true?
Kind of doing a biopic like this in a way, why not use the real depositions so you can get your hands on them?
If they're interesting enough.
Regardless, the scene where he asks I don't know which attorney it was.
It's the Winklevoss.
It's the Winklevoss.
The one where he says, "Do I have your attention?
Do I have your full attention?"
Yeah.
That scene was bellissimo.
That was the first scene I ever saw from this movie.
The minimum amount of attention that I can offer.
Yeah, that was the first. Then we were talking about. I went opening weekend, very very excited for this movie. It was because they played that scene on the Colbert Report, and they had
what a scene!
Somebody on.
Yeah, that's a really good.
And they showed that scene, and I thought I need to get tickets for this movie.
It's raining.
Who needs explosions?
Yeah.
Who needs explosions when you have that and the adjacent score, the score in this movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! It was Trent Who is it?
Reznor?
Trent Reznor?
That's a name.
Yeah, is that
of
is
a
that
person
right?
who
Definitely
is a movie person.
walk away from the Gilbert Grape
Hold on.
soundtrack, which we said was like very mediocre.
Yeah,
so bad.
Is one of the best scores of any movie.
Music's important to me.
And who did you say
in
was
movies.
the
Hold on.
composer?
Look it up. We think Trent Reznor.
Where is that name coming up?
But that's a real name of somebody, but I don't know if they're a
That's
composer.
a real name.
It's a name of a film person that may be a composer if you're getting close to it.
Yeah, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. So Trent Reznor is the lead vocalist and writer from Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, I didn't know
that. Yes, a band that I adore.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack in a weird way, the one that I kept thinking of it was similar to is the Tron Legacy soundtrack. The Daft Punk did. Every
time you tell me one of your favorite movies is Troy, I always think of Tron instead.
No, it is not Tron. Troy's my favorite. It also has a great soundtrack.
This had like a really gothic, like electro pop soundtrack that totally punched every scene. Like it complemented everything, and it did what a soundtrack is supposed to do. It did not make you feel a certain way. It only complemented the tone in a scene.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's an excellent way to put it.
Yeah.
Whenever I have some disappointment in my life, I always think of that sad piano, the dun da da. Like it comes to my head when something's not going right. That's that little piano, sad piano.
Did you ever find out the name of the song? The dun 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 dun.
I can't remember it. No, I'll find it later. I'll write it on the screen. We'll write it on the screen.
Major props to the soundtrack in this movie. The score, it definitely makes or break movies for me.
It does, absolutely. Yeah. I can't wait to discuss my favorite movie soundtrack one day.
Wait, what's your favorite?
It's Hook.
Oh.
Also Hook.
I can't with you.
What do you mean you can't with you?
I need to see it. I haven't
seen it yet. You do need to see it.
It's just funny to be here, so passionate.
I am very passionate about that movie.
Yeah. But there's a couple scenes that the music builds up. It cuts to silence, and the cuts in this movie were great. I don't know who edited this movie, but
this is my segue now.
Segue in.
This movie was actually edited on Final Cut, which was a rarity at the time, because most movies were edited on Avid Media Composer, I believe is the term. But no, it was edited on Final Cut. And these days, you got full-length movies being edited on Premiere Pro and Final Cut. But back then, this was actually a really rare thing for... As far as I know, I could have my facts completely wrong, but I was
Let us know in the comments if Tristan's dumb.
No, don't. Actually do. You know, you're going to do that anyways. You might as well just be asking
Pick
for
anything any of us say, really. We know
Dissect my mediocre vocabulary, even though that sentence itself was not too...
I just think it's really cool that there is software that's not so high up in the industry that can still be used to put together a movie like this. I mean, Deadpool was made on Premiere Pro, so that's cool. Premiere Pro is what I use. It's what's used to edit all these videos. I actually hate Final Cut. So
Final Cut, though, if I remember right, when this movie came out, which is kind of when I started school and was starting to get into all this stuff, Final Cut was much more popular than Premiere at the time.
It was, and it was also completely different.
Yeah, and then I guess Final Cut made a lot of updates that people hated. Well,
you got Final Cut, and then you got Final Cut Pro X.
Yeah.
Final Cut Pro X is what's used nowadays. It's like, it's almost iMovie on steroids.
Sure, yeah.
That's based on my editing experience on it. I don't like Final Cut. I'm a Premiere guy all the way. Plus,
close to no editing experience.
Plus, I love the fact that Premiere and Premiere can go on both a Mac or a Windows.
Well, that's nice because I can't work a Mac. As you know, I tried to copy and paste something on your computer and it did not work out for me.
No, it did not.
I was like, what button am I pressing?
But yeah, Final Cut was used to edit this movie, and that's pretty neat. I actually just have a bunch of quotes here that I like, so I will just say,
bring them in.
This is such a quotable movie.
Yeah. It totally is.
If you can remember the quotes.
Well, thank you, writer, for having this on your list.
Yeah.
There's so many great quotes to take away from this movie, and they all just happen in the split moment. Like,
They do.
Where I just wrote it here. If you were the inventors of Facebook, you would have invented Facebook. But you didn't.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying earlier about taking an idea. If you had that idea, you would have done it.
Yeah.
If you had the capabilities. But you didn't.
Yeah, I think that they kind of had like the foundation of like what they wanted to be, but they just didn't have the skill set for it. Zuckerberg,
I mean, but the Harvard, what was it called? The Harvard
Connection,
it does exist. It was a thing.
Yeah.
They just wanted to amplify. They just wanted to renovate, reinvent it.
Yeah.
Or what am I looking for? There you go.
To
my
flesh out.
Yeah.
Dating you was like dating a Stairmaster.
Oh, I wrote that one down too.
That's great.
Yo, that was a good line.
I feel like those two may have some personal connection with that line. The way you guys were so excited about it.
No, but that
yes.
But that did I thought it was totally wrap up the way that he treated her.
Yeah.
It was just exhausting, like this continuously trying to climb up something that is never going to change.
Yeah.
I would call myself a good boyfriend, but I could easily see someone.
But you're saying don't show Liz that scene?
No,
I'm saying if she saw that scene, she would probably say something like, "Yeah, I could. I get it."
I don't think I've ever dated a Stairmaster, but
I don't see you saying something like, you don't have homework, you go to BU.
You don't have to study.
You don't have to study.
It's so condescending to her. It's so like degrading to her. Like, oh my god, just.
And it's
such a good scene.
The way he delivered it, he wasn't even like meaning to be insulting. He was saying like as if it was factual. Like it was just a factual thing.
Yeah, well, he's.
I mean, we can go outside. It's sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his line.
Yeah.
He does play him with this like emotional monotone. Like
I want to see Eisenberg get more villain roles after this.
He plays a really good villain. I mean, he played
Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
he played Lex Luthor. But apparently Lex Luthor is like a lot of people's gripe with.
Which is insane to me, and I know that's not the movie we're supposed to be talking about.
Oh God.
But the only thing that was good.
We're gonna make that Zack Snyder
video
just out of cuts.
It's gonna be a Zack Snyder appreciation video.
I would never be a part of anything.
Everyone else will love Zack Snyder. You'll be the one opposing side.
How could anybody love Zack Snyder? How?
I didn't say it'd be us.
The only thing that was like redeemable about this Batman vs Superman was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. And I'm a comic book guy. I worked at a comic store for years. I know the characters. It's not that I don't know Lex Luthor's character.
Yeah.
I thought he embodied the Lex Luthor character. It's the second best Lex Luthor of all time. Number one is Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville.
That's
best Lex Luthor of all time. Should have just gotten him to play in the movies. But second is Jesse Eisenberg. I thought he killed it as Lex Luthor. Only good part of that movie. He did just play Mark Zuckerberg from this movie.
Except no hair. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, he eventually lost his hair. Like he had his hair for a good part of the movie.
And so does the real like, not the real, because there is no real Lex Luthor, but the comic book Lex Luthor does have hair at times.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In fact, 60s Lex Luthor blames Superman for his hair loss. That's why he hates Superman so much.
That's a reason to hate someone.
I kind of feel like Jesse plays very similar characters as well in, like, most of the things that he's in. Like, I feel like any movie I can think of that he's in, it's, like, all the fast-paced kind of, like,
he himself is unique that way, isn't that?
That's
as
what
a person.
I think that's what he brings to some roles, definitely.
I'm
glad. Was a good choice for this.
I've seen him in interviews too, and he kind of already has that like narcissistic attitude.
When he started out, though, I felt like every time I would see him, he was like, we couldn't get Michael Cera. So like
that's his lookalike. I was trying to figure out.
I was reading an article trying to maintain my thoughts about this movie while we were setting up, and they mentioned Michael Cera for this role.
Yeah. Because like before that, it was like you had Zombieland, where he just kind of plays the Michael Cera part, and then
so good, though.
Yeah, it is a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
And then Adventureland, which is one of my brother's favorite movies that I'm kind of okay with.
It is.
Where he just kind of plays Michael Cera.
Yeah.
And then I was glad when this movie came out. I was like, oh look, he's showing his range. But then they were like, okay, you're not Michael Cera anymore. You're Mark Zuckerberg now, and we're just gonna only cast you in those things.
Wait, that's kind of crazy. So there's Zombieland and Adventureland, and one is Jesse and one is Michael.
No, they're both Jesse.
They're both Jesse.
Oh, they're both Jesse?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he plays
doing like the
picture
Michael
in both those movies.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're just Jesse Eisenberg doing a Michael Cera
They had
impression.
talked about Michael Cera playing this role.
Yeah. And they ended up, and he showed that he was better suited for it, I think. I don't think Michael Cera would have done a good job in this.
Mm-mm.
But that's clearly who they wanted. And then they got Jesse Eisenberg, and he did a much better job.
Is he the poor man's Michael Cera?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I think that's how he started his career.
Yes.
Though.
Yeah.
Congratulations for graduating.
Yeah. From like awkward nerd to like nerdy douchebag.
Yeah.
That's who you are now.
Yeah, right.
Nice job establishing yourself, Jesse. You should have gotten the Oscar for this.
Well, it did win the Oscar for Best Soundtrack, so...
That is good.
Yeah.
Did it win editing, too?
Very deserved.
I thought it might have won editing, but...
Let me see.
I do like how I typed up all my notes on Facebook Messenger.
I saw that. I was like, are you texting someone all of your notes? Like...
Well, I'm texting myself.
That is interesting.
I was like, I don't know.
Sometimes he replies.
I was like, I'm surprised he's like texting during the movie, but nope.
Nope.
Taking notes.
He's a professional.
Awards. I mean, it definitely deserved. Yeah, Best Original Music Score Academy Award, Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should have won Oscar.
Best Writing Adapted Screenplay. They did win the Academy Award for that.
That
Best
makes sense,
Director
too.
at Golden Globes. Academy Award for Best Film Editing.
Yeah, there it is. Editing.
Yeah. Wow.
I want to talk about that.
Killed it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want to talk about...
Please.
Favorite edit was probably $1 billion.
Oh, we will get to that. That sexy line deserves all sorts of recognition.
It's sexy. That's just...
It is sexy.
It's sexy.
It is very sexy. Extremely sexy.
Somebody say sexy again.
Sexy.
Right?
Now we all have said sexy.
I haven't said
Wait,
it.
what did the man say after the race?
Brutally close.
It's very close race.
I want to hear how close the race was again. But no, I really loved how they divided the dialogue between flashbacks and the court scenes for the whole movie.
Yeah.
It was just, even at times where they were happening at the same time, where they were reading the dialogue that was happening and then the dialogue was happening in real time, or I don't know what we can count as real time in this, because the court scene is clearly present day and the other one is flashback technically.
I did get a little lost a couple times. I don't know if it's because I'm tired or not, but I did the first couple times that they jumped between the courtrooms, between the Winklevoss twins and Eduardo's case meeting. Then I got a little confused.
I agree with that.
But after that,
it took me a bit to realize where this movie wanted my attention.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with that.
Or like what
how it
the
wanted me
main...
to collect my thoughts.
Is that the movie's fault though, or my mind's fault? Probably my brain for not being fast enough.
Well, the thing is, I think that they don't want you to realize it right away. I think it's supposed they expect you to just catch on,
to
and I
caught
eventually.
Yeah, it did take me a few
I think if they really
get it.
wanted you to know, they would have opened on one of the negotiations and not opened the bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably would have had
And they
a
only-
date too.
Yeah.
I don't think they even had a date
No, they did.
Once in the movie.
Like
they
did
said
eventually,
dates.
no, because he said 2003.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The first time when he goes
Mhm.
back, so they have the bar scene, and then she breaks up with him, and then he leaves. And as he's coming back onto campus,
Mhm.
I think it says 2003.
There are a
Yeah,
couple
it does.
timestamps in the movie.
Right.
I didn't pay too much attention.
Honestly,
to
the
them.
only one I remember is the 2003 one. and
I think that may be the only one.
Mhm.
So I thought there was another.
I feel like
Oh,
there may be location.
Maybe right at the end,
Yeah.
when Saverin breaks the
It
laptop.
is at the end.
They show it again.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
show whatever year that is, where they
Um,
got their millionth subscriber.
But yeah, I guess flipping between those court scenes and the real time dialogue, it elicited like a feeling of anticipation or anxiety
Mhm.
almost. And
I did
that-
feel anxious, as well.
Yeah.
Just
Nah,
'cause it's all the
good
dialogue. Like,
editing.
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, ugh.
Beautifully edited film.
It was.
I also love how, at times when you went between the court and the flashbacks,
Mm-hmm.
how they'd be talking about the same thing, but the moods were just so different.
The chicken.
Oh my
You got the
God.
chicken.
Yeah.
There was one thing in particular, like at one point, Garfield's character Eduardo, in one scene, he's like talking about the same thing very enthusiastically and happy, and in the other one, he's in tears.
Was it about the them first talking about the idea of Facebook
I think
outside of that party?
no, I think
Because that one.
I remember they were inside.
Yeah.
I remember Garfield was like next to a couch.
I think are you sure that wasn't the chicken scene?
It could have been the chicken
I think
scene.
it was.
Yeah. I think it's when he's saying,
Maybe it was all of them. I don't know.
There
Which
were
again,
so
it
many
sucks
scenes with
because
the couch.
I have unintentionally done the chicken
Yeah.
thing.
The tonal shifts were great. I don't know. Lighting also. What's the word I'm looking for?
Honestly,
It contributed towards those tonal shifts. There's a lot of like almost sepia
like the
yellow
color.
washing.
Yeah, the color.
Yeah,
in
and
the
then
movie.
everything was very cold
Yeah.
I
and
wasn't-
blue during the court scenes.
I'm sorry, I wasn't really a big fan of the hue of the movie though. It was all like very yellow, and I wanted it to be brighter because like I was kind of getting a headache.
But
trying
would that
to,
have been
like, see,
appropriate, do you think, for the tone of the movie?
I don't know what would be appropriate or not, but I just personally, in my opinion, I just didn't really like the color of the movie.
Dragged
It was
it
all
down.
like one color and one note, except for like the laptop scene.
Yeah.
It's
But it
probably
could-
the brightest one.
A couple
Yeah.
scenes were a little more colorful, like
Just
the
my
one where you're
opinion, though.
introduced to Sean.
Yeah.
When you wake up in that woman's apartment, everything was pretty colorful.
That, and even the bar scene
Yeah.
where they meet with him and they're getting the apple
Yes,
and stuff.
that
It's got a lot
was-
of red in it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that was
And
purposeful
then the green
because
from the apple teeny and
his
stuff.
character
yeah.
is
yeah.
exaggerated and
Yeah.
he's embellished and
At Facebook
definitely
headquarters, very
symbolic.
colorful.
Yeah.
It's
it's
extremely
a
colorful
scene.
there.
a lot of the
So
scenes that
that-
take place
yeah.
with Sean are colorful. The
He's
scenes
a colorful guy.
exactly. The scenes later on, I think even when it was in the Facebook headquarters with the scene between Eduardo and Mark's character where he smashes a laptop, it was a little colder, and especially the scenes in the office
Mm-hmm.
were blue toned and gray.
Right.
Everything a little earlier on was more brown and red, the collegiate colors.
That's what
I
it
do.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that. Is the first scene and then the bar with
Mhm.
Rooney Mara's character. Everything was dark and smoky brown, but I think it only gave to the tone of each scene.
Can we talk about the delivery of this one line? Because I'm not justifying it whatsoever. I just think it's funny that this was spoken in a way that made it so uncommon. You called me a bitch on the internet.
Yeah.
Like that, like they're saying it like it's a
not
rare
written
thing.
marks,
It's
in
written ink. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I work on YouTube. I get called a bitch every single day, many times worse.
Like that was.
But I guess in 2004.
That
No,
was
it
a
was a big
ridiculous
deal.
thing,
And
yeah.
I think that's just fun to acknowledge.
Yeah.
That's something back then, like, oh, that's permanent. You said that on the internet. You can't take that back.
Yeah.
We
I
are
finally got told to kill myself the other day. Like,
You did.
it's been a long time.
You're a real
I got
internet
very
star.
nostalgic about it.
He's made it, ladies and gentlemen.
Feel free
He's
to
been
call us
told to
bitches in the comments.
Kill ourselves. Wow.
Comments below or
Well, I
tweet
won't
your answers
speak
to.
for them, but yeah.
You can call me a bitch in the comments. Whatever. You can call me a bitch at
How many people
BurgerFi.
comment? How
Huh?
many people comment?
haven't released
which
these.
ones?
Like I guess these videos.
No one. Yeah, we haven't released any of these.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking
We're
about
building
like on
up.
list 25.
Got you. Okay.
I-
How many people
I-
comment on those then?
We get probably like 500 comments per video minimum.
What?
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
Bliss 25 is a big channel. 2.6 million subscribers.
Okay.
As of this recording.
Check it out if you haven't already.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's great. That
Our
didn't sound
house is
convincing.
going to be better.
What's that?
What?
I'll find out when I edit later on.
Oh,
All this stuff
God.
is written in ink, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, privacy.
If any, you guys could call me a bitch on the internet right
I'm
now.
gonna call you a bitch right now.
There we go. She
Bitch.
called me a bitch on the internet.
On the internet.
Did it for you.
Amazing. What else do I have?
Anything else about the editing? We want to talk about that one scene?
The billion?
Yeah.
Oh my god, my damn phone's about to die.
There's a charger right there.
It's not a Android charger though.
Oh, well, that sucks.
I think there is an Android charger there as well.
Is there? Well, let's just keep it going.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
There were some really, really well-timed cuts in this.
All right, let's talk about that cut. Because I'm dying to talk about that cut. I hope everyone's dying to talk about that cut.
Yeah.
And here it
Cut
goes.
that top.
And it's the one where they're asking him how much money was offered.
No, he says $1 million isn't cool. You know what is cool?
No. $1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool? You?
$1 billion. That shut everybody up.
$1
And
million
that's
isn't cool. You know what's cool? And then they cut back to the deposition.
Yeah.
And Eduardo says, not Sean Parker, says $1 billion.
Well, it went even further than that. We had Sean actually saying
yeah,
and it cuts to
right
him
to.
saying- They cut mid-letter.
Yeah.
Mid-letter.
Yeah.
Back to the.
And it's
the
done
court
so
scene.
Yeah, back to
smooth.
the
Not court scene. Why do I keep saying that?
deposition,
Deposition.
yeah.
Sorry. God
It's kind of
damn,
a
my
court
lawyer
scene.
friends are gonna be mad at me. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that was awesome. I also liked how he said, "Take the out of Facebook."
Yeah.
Because
Cleaner.
still you.
And Saverin calls it the biggest contribution he made to the company.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Honestly.
was a pretty...
Yeah. But you also in that scene at the dinner scene, you just have the music building up and building up and building up and building up, and then
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's
I mean,
cold.
imagine these days if we're saying, "Oh, just message me on the Facebook."
Yeah.
I can't take that seriously.
I'm sure some people still
There are
say
some
that.
very old people who say the Facebook.
I will use it ironically, which I fear will one day become non-ironic. But that's, hey, I use the term yeet now,
There you go.
and that started out ironically.
Oh yeah.
If you are mad, I was thinking about this during the movie. If you're mad about Facebook stealing your information and stuff, like people are starting to they want to boycott Facebook. And I think it would be funny to start a movement where in order to boycott Facebook, we all get Harvard connection accounts.
Yes.
Like that's the
Oh my
that's the big revenge. Like instead of going to Snapchat or Twitter,
To have an Harvard
or-
EU though.
maybe it's not even in existence anymore. But I'm saying we find a way to boycott Facebook by all getting accounts on the Harvard connection to really stick it into Zuckerberg.
I'm down. Defeat the Lizard King.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm starting that movement right here, right now.
All right.
Come
everybody,
add me on Harvard
please,
connection.
Harvard Connection. Alex McDonald.
I'll be applying for Harvard soon.
We're gonna get our graduate.
Look out.
I don't have a degree. We've lost
There
to
you go.
Tristan, apparently. Now we can talk shit about him.
Yeah.
He's a bitch.
God.
Family
What a
friendly.
bitch.
Family friendly. Oh God. I did really enjoy this. So you've seen this before. I had only seen it one time before, and I didn't remember
I feel
a
like I've
single
only
thing.
seen half of it before. 'Cause,
Really?
I definitely haven't seen a good chunk of that movie before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And I,
interesting.
God, all around this film, every element that went into it, the acting, the directing, the editing,
Yeah.
honestly, 10 out of 10.
It's just crisp.
We'll give
It's
our
crisp
rating.
all
We'll
the
give
way
our
through.
ratings at the end, but
Yeah.
mine's gonna be high.
It is good. It is a good feeling to, I hope that you guys don't just overly trust my list now.
I don't.
Okay, that's good.
I don't.
Because this is probably one of the technically better movies on my list. Some I pick for.
And I was kind of already ready for that, for a really good film.
Yeah.
Because I'm familiar with the success
Yeah.
that it had and the awards that it had won.
Yeah.
So I trusted this decision.
Yeah. Some are kind of personal choices. That
I don't know how I
get as
feel
much
about some of
positivity.
the other ones.
Yeah.
The Bollywood one, I'm kind of excited to see.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
Highest.
to make my list.
Yeah, you gotta make it so that we all know. Send it out.
It's hard to come up with 25 movies that's gonna be
really. I had trouble cutting mine to 25.
Well, that's what I started doing, which is like thinking of every movie I liked, and like over a couple days would just put but I would just put them all on there, and then once I had like
where are we at
30 or 40, we're talking about how we made our list.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're calling you a thing.
Yeah.
Probably like really nerdy movies, like Marvel movies and stuff. Like I don't know.
Okay. Whatever is your personal 25.
Let me try to look more artistically.
Mine are morbid and culty and weird.
I like a non-artistic. My sister did it. She did her top 25, and all of her friends like fancy themselves film people, and she would send me all of her friends lists, and it'd just be like rearrangements of like the IMDb top 25, and I'd be like, these are boring. Like, yeah, we all know The Godfather is good, but if you have like The Godfather, Citizen Kane, Shawshank Redemption, you know,
but
whatever.
Also, some people just don't watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they don't have a wider range.
But
I feel like my range is still smaller, but...
But you have, like, some fun picks on yours. I don't like when people, like... Yeah. One of my sister's friends sent me one that I loved that had Double Indemnity, which is, like, an old noir. But then right next to it was Shrek 4. And I thought, like, this is a good list. Because it bounces rapidly between, like, classics... And then Shrek 4
I like it.
as the best Shrek 4.
I almost put THX 1138. Have any of you seen that?
I have not seen
that.
It's
like, you have?
Yeah.
It's. I love it only because I love seeing where a lot of the inspiration for George Lucas's later work came from. Mm-hmm. It's just a weird film.
It is a weird film.
I've never even heard of that movie.
It's one of his first ones.
Yeah, it was George Lucas's.
It's got to be first.
He did.
It's before American Graffiti, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's good.
It's the first one.
Yeah. Did you get your comments there?
Yeah, I did.
We were on yours. I was going to bring mine out, but I think I went through all of them already. I just wrote the Winkle vibe.
I didn't take any notes. I feel a little unprepared.
It's okay.
I
just
kind of like
sat there and just let it all come to me.
Yeah, our first time nobody took notes.
No.
We all took notes in the second one. I did not take notes.
I didn't take notes on the second
Did you
one.
take notes
Yes,
first?
I took
Yeah,
notes.
you did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Never
my
mind.
I was
movie.
gonna say, where are your notes?
I did not take notes for this one.
He's still not on the note-taking
No,
train.
because I know this movie so well. I've seen it many
exactly.
times.
That's
We
why
watched my DVD.
I didn't take them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give that to you.
Yeah, I did want to talk about. I tried to start taking a tally or just a list of what Jesse Eisenberg, what Mark Zuckerberg was eating in this movie, but then it just kind of died off. But I thought it was funny that he had tuna from a can.
Yeah.
And then a can of Mountain Dew, and then tried to put a giant sub in his jacket.
Yeah,
during one scene.
I had never noticed that part until this. I watched the movie many times.
Like planned either.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Until Emma started
improvised.
laughing during that scene, and I looked over, and it's when he's in the bike room with the Winklevi twins for the first time. And they were like, do you want a sandwich? And they hand him like a saran wrap sandwich. And he holds it for a second. And then he just tries to put it in his pocket. And he can't quite get it there.
So that's what you guys were laughing at.
Very funny.
I was taking a note and I missed it. I'm like, I know they didn't say anything, but how quiet did they speak?
I think Jesse Eisenberg, one of his greatest qualities as an actor is his humor.
Yeah.
He's a really great comedic actor. And for him to even bring that into this film, he did it so well.
Yeah.
And that little... Definitely improvised. Wasn't even thinking about it. Maybe scene where he just puts the jacket, the sub halfway in his jacket, and then takes it back out.
And he realizes it looks weird, and takes it back out, and just kind of holds it. Yeah. That's hilarious.
It's interesting that they handed him like it looked like a deli sub that you would buy,
I think,
and they just like had.
I imagine the Winklevoss twins eat about 10 of those a day.
Well, I imagine that
I thought that was a very generous.
Because they're in a finals club, and I imagine which I guess it's like Harvard's kind of. It's one step up from a fraternity, and so they probably have a chef who lives in house and just makes a bunch of sandwiches.
I just found out that happens for fraternities and sororities. I did not know that they have chefs.
They're not good. As someone who was in a fraternity for a little while,
doesn't matter. You have a chef.
Yeah, and they the ones at least that we had comes in just twice a day, cooks a lunch, cooks a dinner. So it's not like you can just like walk in the kitchen and be like, "Please prepare me this thing."
But still,
I have had a personal chef before. There's no way to say this without like coming off as bragging because you know what? I think I'm gonna brag.
Do it.
And it is very nice.
I would imagine so.
I mean, this was a chef that like. He was like the Kardashians.
Was it on
chef.
set or?
No, it was for a retreat for List 25.
Okay.
So it's not like I had the money to afford this chef.
So can you like come up to him and be like, I would like a chicken parm.
No.
Maybe, like,
all the meals were like planned ahead of time, and they were so good. But he also gave he did excellent Disney impressions. Like he did an excellent Mickey Mouse impression, a Goofy impression, and I got to hear Goofy say all kinds of dirty things.
Oh, lovely.
That's the first thing I said. Like, oh, that's a really good Goofy impression. Swear for me.
Indulge me, if you will.
And he did. He said something like, I obviously can't do a Goofy impression, but gosh, eat shit and die, motherfucker.
Oh my god.
We're trying to get monetized here, Tristan.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
That's funny.
We can't go public yet.
Yeah. I do love me a chef, a catering chef on set, though.
Especially one with
Pinewood Studios had the hookup.
Do you notice that?
Y'all Marvel people.
Emma said, I do like a personal chef on set. Cough, Tristan, in charge of the sets.
Fine, okay.
Look,
my phone is dead right now. As soon as it's back, I'll call my mom. I'll see what I can do.
I would also
I do like to
call my mom.
I do bring the snacks.
She's a good chef.
I didn't bring the snacks today, but I'll bring the snacks next time. I'll bring the
I have also had chefs that worked for both Tyler Perry and the Obamas. Those are the best chefs ever.
Obamas?
What?
Yes.
Do you think the Obamas will watch us?
I went to
Hi, Obama.
I went to this investors meeting, which once again makes me sound way more important than I actually am. I was just speaking at it, and
we are name dropping right now.
They cooked this lamb. They cooked this lamb, and I ate the lamb, and I'm like, okay, yes, at long last, I know what I'm working for. I need to continue to work as hard as I do, so I can continue to eat this lamb whenever I want. It was so
You see the reward
amazing
at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
That's what you're going for.
Lamb is what it's all about. That is the answer to life.
I would disagree.
Lamb.
Lamb and grapes.
I was obsessed with lamb growing up with mint jelly. I'm so sick of it now.
We're not having this
Callback. That's called a callback.
No. Flashback.
It's still, I've actually had enough time to really think about this, having gone back and rewatched our conversation. And I don't think that I can be on your side at all anymore. Like, I gave it a shot.
We've already been off subject for too long. We gotta get back
You're
to
right,
the movie.
we do.
Yes.
Let's get back.
Yes.
So yeah, this entire movie, so dialogue driven. There's not one thing in this movie that is not dialogue driven.
Yeah.
If you guys can think of some examples, fine, but
just
everything,
the boat race.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But then that led to more dialogue driven stuff.
Yeah. But it's the one, which I think is why part of that scene is so powerful. Is because normally you wouldn't care because there's most movies have quiet moments, and the one kind of quiet, if you could even call it that moment, with no dialogue at least, is just music and a boat race.
And it lasted
sticks out. Yeah, but it sticks out in your mind.
It does.
It
definitely does.
Yeah, for sure. Really it's so polar from the rest of the movie.
I do. Speaking of reasons I like this movie, I don't tend to, I watch a lot of movies, you'll watch something, things on my list that are kind of the more artsy fare, the kind of indie movies, tend to have a lot of those moments where, characters are just, quiet, looking out a window or looking, sad somewhere or something like that.
Quiet, sad moment.
And I feel like when I personally write, I never, leave spaces for that. I don't ever write those types of scenes in because it's not... And it's not that I don't enjoy watching them, it's just when I'm sitting down to write, I don't think about that.
Yeah.
So it's good to watch a movie like this, and it, gives me hope that I'm, at least half decent. Because, or that you don't have to. That a good movie can have no sort of sentimental pauses.
I think sometimes
can just go and go.
Appropriate,
Absolutely.
though.
Yeah, I do too. That's what I said. I like seeing them, but I don't feel capable enough to know when it's appropriate to put it in. So I just end up not doing it because it never feels right.
Maybe watching through some of our films we'll be able to.
Yeah. Gilbert Grape does such a good job with some of
Yeah.
those really quiet, we did that last week and I remember thinking man,
I know
I
Blade
can't
Runner's on my
imagine,
list.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is on my list.
I can't imagine having, sitting down, I don't even know what that looks like in a script. What do you write about these moments? I mean, half the time, Tristan fleshes out my stage directions because I'll just like write one sentence and like Tristan will decide or we'll decide on set together what the rest of this is.
I think it might be helpful if we can get our hands on some of these movies that stick out to us to get a hold of some of the screenplays if they're public domains and read them. Because I have been enjoying that this past year. It was kind of a goal of mine to read more screenplays of movies that I care about.
Right.
I just read Donnie Darko's screenplay and it gave me a whole new insight to the film.
Yeah.
I really think that emotional pauses and like the sentimental aspects of movies as well could also be found with the actors, like whatever they feel in the moment as well. Obviously with given direction, but I feel like it's hard for writers, like you said, to like find those moments, but I feel like it's up to the actor as well as the character to like seek out those moments for themselves.
Definitely.
As well,
like the past few years doing theater a lot, reading through multiple scripts. I've done maybe like 15 shows in the past 3 years, if not more.
Find those beats.
You have to make your own decisions based on the dialogue and the material that you're given, and that certainly is where an actor can come in and
do something there
with with the scene.
Which is, but that is something which is good and but I did kind of appreciate about this movie, and I think looking back on it, I've liked it for forever. Before I even really saw myself as a writer or was writing consistently, but now going back it's like, okay, this is a movie of, there's a few on my list that I just like for like because I like them, and this is one that like is more, I like it, but it's also an inspiration in terms of like, if I were to like say, okay, what is my goal as a writer? It is to write something like this that is like dialogue and tempo driven, because it feels more in line with my current style. Like I feel like I write unrefined versions of this movie, and I would like to get to the point where I can write something as crisp as this.
Absolutely is. Yeah. It's super snappy.
Yeah. And that's what, having like a tempo. I mean, I remember like that's what I always think about, and it's too like a famous George Lucas note that they said when they worked on Star Wars that he would say faster and with more energy, and like I always think that.
Well, because natural conversations are slower, we have those pauses, does not translate too well onto film.
It doesn't.
Process and
I've tried. It doesn't.
It doesn't. And people sometimes try to emulate that just to get more of an authentic performance or something from.
Right.
Are we out of the camera?
I feel like if you were to do that, it would have to be in like one shot, and then like. That way you just see like the whole thought process going on. And
well, the whole tone of your film is that way, sure, but it really does not work. And it sticks out in the film. It does, when you can see they're trying to make something look more natural or have those pauses.
Yeah.
Most of the time does not work. With the dialogue that is in this movie,
Yeah, and I love that story about...
I lack a description there, but...
Sorkin... And I think this is true, from what I've read at least, of pretty much anything Aaron Sorkin does, is that when he sits down to write, he knows the tempo of his script. Wow. And then he's going to sit down with his actors. He says he goes to all the rehearsals. So he doesn't necessarily go on set every day, but he does like a fairly long rehearsal process that, him and the director are at, where he basically says, this is the tempo of the script, and I'm going to read it, and that, you have to know your lines. People say if you work with Sorkin, you better come in fully memorized, because he's going to be telling you faster, and if you're taking time to think.
I feel like Andrew Garfield talked about that.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly,
I've heard Jeff Daniels, who works with him a lot, is currently working on, he plays Atticus Finch on Broadway in Sorkin's To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah, which I really want to see. He was in The Newsroom, which was a Sorkin show, and he talks about like they would have on The Newsroom people come in that were guest spots, and they would, some of them would bring their script pages because they hadn't quite learned for their guest spot, and that Jeff Daniels was like, they're about to be in trouble because if they don't know everything really well right now, Sorkin's gonna crush them because all he wants is faster.
I kind of respect that though. From an actor's standpoint, I do prefer to come into a set and be ready to work with the script out of my hand. I mean, it's stressful at times, especially for something like a 48-hour film.
Absolutely,
when I only have 30 minutes to memorize like a couple pages, or the whole script even. It's not too difficult. Like I don't struggle too much with memorization, but I prefer to not have that in sight at that point, because then I can focus on actually developing the character and being in the moment for the story. Yeah, we have.
I feel like that's a get-go. Like I feel like any actor needs to come on set like fully memorized. Like,
well, I think it's harder to do with like a TV show where you're filming multiple scenes back to back every day. You get the script maybe the night before, the morning of.
Right.
You have to memorize it in makeup. That's hard.
Yeah.
But then you have kind of more room to improvise. But I prefer to come to set with everybody off script, and I respect directors that expect that.
I mean, I prefer to direct dialogue-heavy scenes, so it's natural that... well, that's one of the reasons that Alex and I work together so often, is because he does write very dialogue-heavy scenes. They're definitely more comedic than the Social Networks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that dialogue is when... I don't know, I just really think that you can tell a lot about a character with dialogue. It might be the easiest way to tell about a character, but if you just get that out of the way, since it already has so much power, I feel like... How do I phrase this? I feel like people look at dialogue as the easiest way to develop a character, and then they already think it's powerful enough on its own. Not... Like, I'm talking about mainly amateur and things that we go up against, but I think that if you just take that power that's already there with dialogue and just ramp it up to 10...
Because you don't have to specifically say anything, but you can say so much through the words that a character is speaking and how they're saying them.
Thanks, you're helping me.
Yeah, I
I'm a director, guys.
It's hard to put it into words. That's why, you're the writer.
But I take a long time to put things into words, just as Tristan.
Oh, yes, he does.
I take my time with it, so don't expect a lot of eloquence here in these things, because I don't get as much preparation.
You can learn about a person through their action and through their physical acting. But I think it speaks louder when you've already learned from said dialogue or conversations that they've had, some things that they have said. It allows those quieter moments to mean more.
I have a question for the actors here. Do you guys feel like if you're on a set, have you ever felt that a director has told you a pace at which to read and that it felt too fast?
Yes.
And that, do you ever, I guess I wondered when they're directing these characters, so we all watch it and go, this works really well, the speed at which they're talking. But if that would feel, if you were on set and you were delivering at that, would you say, wait, I don't have time to act now?
Yes.
That would frustrate you?
So not on film, but a lot in theater. I once, when I did No Exit by Jean-Paul Sartre, it's a French play about three people stuck in hell. There is a particular, I love it. There's a particular monologue with the character that I had, Estelle, when it's a 2.5-page monologue, and I had a lot of trouble finding the pacing for that.
Yeah.
So I sat in the theater with my director for what seemed like 4 hours, trying everything at different paces, and she would tell me to just, you just did this entire page, and kind of how they did it on set for this movie. You just did this in 3 minutes. Please cut that in half.
Yeah.
How the hell am I going to do that? But trusting in my director, I did it, and you discover new things. Pacing is such a powerful element in a script, in the dialogue, and how you're delivering something. Right. And you may not think to say something a lot slower or a lot faster, and when a director allows you that opportunity to do it, and you do, so you can discover so many new things. And I ended up doing that monologue completely differently than how I had done it at our first read-through. Going back to your question.
Because I've personally found, which is kind of why I asked, I just assistant directed a play with a friend of mine, and then even being on set for some of the bystander shoots, and that being stuff that I've written, and then the play not being written, I've found actors in both hesitant to go at a faster pace.
Yeah, well, I think maybe some of them have a theater background, because more often than not, especially doing something like Shakespeare, people have this inclination to go slower to make people understand it, but sometimes going at a faster pace, your audience isn't as dumb sometimes as you think that they are, and they can keep up with what you're saying.
Yeah, when we were shooting Bystanders, it was Josh and Widland, I remember that was because I had written that script, and I had imagined the Jake characters or the characters in that being like a super kind of fast talker and keep having to tell Josh like faster. It's gotta go faster.
If it was an emotional scene, maybe
it was not. It's a comedic scene, and
Very funny scene.
But he was just trying to kind of take it
to punch everything.
Yeah, like he wanted like a real person, like the way that a real person would say something and a real person would think about the things that they say.
But not all character development, not all emotion needs to be articulated.
Yeah.
Sometimes the pacing you can't tell from your own delivery.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to have a director on set.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the things that I would struggle with is like I would want to like deliver my line or whatever. And after I took this one class like last semester or whatever, I was like extensively taught and trained to like stop, listen, breathe, and just like take my time and like pause with everything. So I think that if I were to be given the direction of like fast, it'd feel a little artificial to me.
Nature, yeah.
But then again, that's the difference between like film and theater. I feel like on stage versus in front of a camera.
Yeah, you're constantly having to learn and unlearn things if you're working with different people, because everyone's going to have a different method of how to elicit this kind of performance or what they want to portray on camera. And I think it's our job as actors to like reset ourselves and be able to adapt to a different direction type. So I'm very comfortable with it. Yeah. And I think it gives me more opportunity to play.
Yeah.
Being open to any kind of direction.
Yeah.
And I think I'm comfortable enough with myself as a performer at this point to communicate if I'm uncomfortable with the decision.
Yeah.
I will try it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever say no to a director if they're asking me to do something as simple as that. I mean, if it's more of a controversial like scene or something violent or sexual, then I will voice my comfort level. But something as minor as pacing, I think it's totally acceptable to ask an actor to pace something out.
I think that too. It just it just kind of struck me with this movie because I felt like whatever I had been giving that note or feeling that like things that I've worked on, could be faster, or I would say that a lot. And then watching this movie, and then I thought to myself, like, I wonder, because obviously seeing the finished product, it works so well, the pace that they go. But
because
I wonder if that was like
stays.
Yeah,
it's kind of a constant.
Yeah,
I think if the pacing was the way it was in that first scene and never again, it would stick out in a bad way.
Right. But I wondered if that was like a difficulty. We kind of hear what they say. Where the actors will say that Fincher would make them do it over and over again until they got it right. But I wondered if they... But
it brings out a more authentic performance.
Or if that on set, if it was like they were going, why the hell would we ever say it this fast? There's no way we're going to use these takes.
Absolutely.
And then they end up working.
Being in the final cut.
So, I don't know, in some ways it's like I almost... Not that I've had people push back on that note, but I still sometimes I felt like when we did Matt's show, and I felt like I said that a lot, and not that I was disappointed at all in the finished product, but I still don't think we ever got to the pace that I thought in my head that this is what it should be. And that was a super dialogue-heavy show, and it was hard to memorize everything, especially for a play being, whatever it was, an hour and 20 minutes, that it was hard to know that much much dialogue in an hour and 20. But
doing a documentary, then a film is going to be a little hyper-realistic.
Yeah.
And why on earth should that mean that the pacing should be...
Right, exactly. It doesn't have to... You don't have to think... I think one school of acting is like those kind of moments of discovery, and where as you're saying something, you're like remembering or figuring out what you're trying to say, and sometimes I want to be like, pretend that your character already knows what you're going to say and has known it for years, and you're not thinking about it, you're just saying it as quick as possible.
That's how a lot of the Star Wars auditions did. That's why... Carrie Fisher or Mark Hamill got cast in Star Wars. A lot of their auditions, they were given this material, this dialogue, and I would say around 90% of it had no actual meaning.
Yeah. Just sci-fi jumbles.
It's just sci-fi rambling bullshit. Yeah. Nobody knew what any of this actually meant. But the reason that they were cast in those roles, as we watch their audition tapes, is they say these things like they believe them.
Yeah.
And that's the job of an actor, is to take any of this material and make it real and bring it to life.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
like the characters are just like ink on a paper until like the actor actually like comes in and puts breath in their lungs and like has blood through their veins and stuff and delivers the lines.
That is very true. There have been plenty of characters that I have written that I have it in my head how these characters are, how they're supposed to be. I may get one scene with an actor, and I'm like, well, the character I had in my head is gone. I can't even remember who it is. There's the character.
Yeah.
Right there.
In a good way or a bad way?
Most of the time, a very good way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the only time it's ever been bad is when they were just side characters. It's never happened with a main character.
Good.
No, they've always, like... Yeah. And then there have been the times where I've been very lucky where it's like, oh my god, that's exactly how it was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I got a little bit of everything with Bystanders, the project Alex and I are working on now.
Brooke is also working on it, and Emma eventually.
That's true. And actually,
we're writing and producing that they will be acting in it.
Brooke is like one of the people that I had no idea, like, oh wow, that's the character that she plays. Okay, didn't know.
I remember you telling me that.
I only know the premise of my character, but I'm excited to meet her.
But that was.
I'm excited for everyone to meet all these characters.
Who's Emma?
Marthea. It won't show up till the final episode of season 1. You haven't read anything with that.
Well, there's some spoilers for you.
Yeah, shut up.
Whatever.
That's all I got. Cool. I will talk to you about it.
I will say, speaking of that, when I started, before I met Tristan, I was trying to get him to let me write for this show. And so I had taken a bunch of outlines and stuff I had gotten, and there was a character that I was really struggling with to write. And the actress that was playing her was someone that I knew of or had watched like tapes of before. And I was struggling to figure out who that character was. And my roommate, the character's name is Tara and the actress' name is Hope. And I was struggling to figure out Tara. And my roommate just said, well, why don't you just make it Hope? And I was like, yes, that's it. Because she has a very distinct personality. And I thought, what if we just made them one person? So that was like a big breakthrough with me. And have since like made those kind of people and character blended into one.
That's happened many times in film with one of our favorite shows with Breaking Bad.
That's true.
That's what happened with Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, and later on, Bryan Cranston went on to sell meth.
Also, plug...
That's what you did with Bailey too.
I did not as much. I've written a lot of Bailey, so I'm glad that you feel that way, because pretty much anything I wrote for Bailey was something, just because I had written a lot of Bailey before I even met you. Really the only person I had met who was cast, well, Widlin I had met, and then Hope I hadn't even actually met. I had just watched Hope Gold's Light of the World. If you would like to know this Hope character, check it out on Frower House.
Yep, Hope Gold's Light of the World.
Hope Gold's Light of the World. If you want an introduction to one of our actresses, Hope Gold's.
Inspirational.
That was my inspiration for the Tara character.
Which they don't even know fully about this project yet. I feel like I'm going to need to just release.
I know, we've been talking for a long time about this and not the social network.
Maybe that should be a journal.
Yeah, is there anything else on the social network? I got through all my notes, so.
I don't know, did you have any? I know you didn't take any notes.
I'm pretty much feeding off of whatever you guys are giving me.
That is fair.
It's hard. It's almost
Just
hard to talk about because, like, it's very good.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, like, I feel like I have usually more, when I watch a movie, I have, like, a lot of things I want to get off my chest in terms of, like, negativity. But this, like, all I really care about saying is, like, you should watch it. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
When you left the room earlier, I was kind of coming to the conclusion in my mind that this is a very well-rounded film, and I have almost no critiques.
I don't have any
negative critiques.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I think they did everything pretty damn good.
I think I rate this movie an A+.
Yeah, I think I'd have to really nitpick.
Yeah.
To find something wrong with it.
I think the only thing I would have a problem with, even then, like, I don't want to say it, is the way the movie ends, but I also think it's perfect for the actual movie.
Yeah.
The way
and at the same time, like, I mean, where can you go? It's a real thing. It's a real person. So
it's just on this constant plane that feels like it's going up, but also so constant. The feel in the movie, the tone, and the anticipatory, the energy of the film, it stays at a constant for me, and it's a good thing.
It is.
It does build up a little bit, but I feel like the end kind of just drops off in a perfect way.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna rate this movie an A+.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say a 7 out of 10, only because
Whoa.
I'm not used to being.
Sure.
Only because it was so much energy for me at like an earlier time of the day that I'm not like used to having high energy.
It does depend on what time of the day you watch a movie.
Yeah. And
sorry, Jessie. We had shown her just a couple hours later.
She would have loved you.
Yeah.
Now you're dead to her.
That's a big difference, literally.
That's fine. Yeah. So.
Sure. Okay.
I did rank.
Okay. I feel like actually 70 is not accurate. I was thinking.
Yeah, give it what you feel.
I would say like an 85. if that's okay.
What?
That's my.
This is not
that's
up
all
to
you.
us. This
If
is
that's
all
okay
you.
with everyone.
As
We
long
will.
as it's okay
we
with
will
you.
accept that.
I'm gonna try that though. When we get big and we have like actual critics reviewing our films, I'm gonna go up to each individual one and like, you know, is this okay? Like maybe give me a 90, give me an 85 if that's all right with you.
Yeah. Check with us before you rate our movies.
I'm guessing you're an A+ as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so I looked at because I did put my top 25 into an actual like ranked.
You did.
Yeah,
I
and
did that.
this
I don't
one.
rank mine on like whether they're the best movie.
I mean, it's by my favorites.
I could
so
rank
in
this-
terms of my personal opinion, and this one was 7 on
Okay.
mine overall.
I
So
could
7.
rank my 25 from like actually good films.
This
to,
might
like,
make it onto my
personal
25.
favorites. Yeah,
I
it's
also feel like I just have like a different kind of taste for different kinds of movies.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's also why.
Yeah,
I'm,
our
a little
lists,
on
we-
the A side.
we only have 1 or 2 repeats on our lists.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch being the
Got-
common.
got a
Yep.
diverse.
Tristan and I both have The Prestige,
Yeah.
And we both have New Hope.
New Hope. Yeah, the original
Okay.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do
I
we?
think that's it.
The Prestige is really fucking good.
Yeah.
You haven't
I
seen
agree with
Prestige
that.
yet, right? I can't wait.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait.
Nope.
All right. Well, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. We're at an hour and a half now. So
Oh wow! Really?
Time flies.
Is this the longest one?
yeah, it's
Oh,
the longest
shit.
one.
We probably got some stuff we cut.
I doubt people
I
will
won't cut it though.
No. Okay. Well,
I
I,
like
guess
this
we
thing
can
to
say
be natural.
goodbye until.
right.
Well, I guess we're filming
Yeah,
I
we're
have no
filming
idea
tomorrow,
which
so
camera
tomorrow,
I'm
but not you
supposed to
won't
look
see
at.
until next week.
yep.
What are we looking at? This one?
Doesn't
Okay.
matter. We're really just talking to each other at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna
adios.
look at that camera.
Are we still on this one right here
Yeah.
in the front?
You 3 are. Tristan isn't.
All right. Come on, Tristan.
Hi guys.
We're gonna say goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us again. It was a pleasure.
Fare thee well.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Yep.